In March 1998, the Bradley family boarded the Rhapsody of the Seas, a Royal Caribbean cruise ship in Puerto Rico. It was meant to be the trip of a lifetime. A week-long Caribbean vacation filled with sunshine, turquoise waters, and family time. Amy Lynn Bradley was 23 years old, vibrant, athletic, and full of life. She had recently graduated from college, was starting a promising career, and was looking forward to the adventure. This was the family's first cruise, and for Amy, it was a chance to relax and celebrate her accomplishments. On the evening of March 23rd, the Bradleys enjoyed dinner together, took part in some of the ship's entertainment, and eventually returned to their cabin. Amy stayed up late with her brother Brad, listening to music on the balcony. Around 5:30 in the morning, Brad went to sleep. Amy was last seen sitting outside on the balcony, watching the ocean as the ship sailed toward Curacao. When the family woke up just a few hours later, Amy was gone. Her sandals, cigarettes, and cabin key were still in the room, but Amy had vanished without a trace. The ship was still at sea. There was nowhere to go. And yet, Amy was missing. When Ron and Iva Bradley realized Amy was gone, panic set in immediately. They searched the cabin, the hallways, the pool deck, anywhere she might have gone in the early morning hours, but she was nowhere to be found. The family quickly alerted ship security, expecting an immediate and thorough search. Instead, they were met with delays and frustrating procedures. Instead of locking down the ship, crew members assured the Bradleys that Amy was probably sleeping somewhere or enjoying an early walk. Precious hours slipped away. Ron Bradley insisted that his daughter would never just wander off without telling anyone. Her sandals, cigarettes, and cabin key were still in the room. She had no reason to leave without her things, and no way to disembark. When the ship finally docked in Curacao later that morning, the crew began a search of the vessel, but by then hundreds of passengers had already gone ashore. If Amy had been taken against her will, the opportunity for her to be moved off the ship had already come and gone. It was the first of many missteps in an investigation that would haunt the Bradley family for decades. Within hours of Amy's disappearance, whispers began to spread among passengers and crew. Several people reported seeing Amy that morning, after the time her family believed she vanished. One witness, a member of the ship's band Blue Orchid, claimed he saw Amy with another man in an elevator just before the ship docked in Curacao. According to him, she seemed uneasy, as if she didn't want to be there. Another passenger insisted they saw Amy walking toward the gangway, though this account was never officially confirmed. But perhaps the most unsettling detail came from a waiter who served the Bradleys the night before. He told them Amy had caught the attention of several crew members, and that one in particular had made her feel uncomfortable. The waiter reportedly warned her to be careful during the trip. As the family processed these accounts, one chilling realization set in. If these sightings were accurate, Amy may have still been alive and on the ship, long after her family believed she vanished. Yet the question remained, if she was there, why didn't anyone help her? By the afternoon of March 24th, the focus of the search shifted from the Rhapsody of the Seas to the island of Curacao. Local authorities, joined by the ship's security team, began combing the docks, nearby shops, and beaches. But there were no signs of Amy. A few dock workers claimed they might have seen a young woman matching her description in the company of local men earlier that day. Others dismissed the sightings as confusion, a case of mistaken identity in a busy port. For the Bradleys, every new lead came with a painful choice: chase after a possible clue, or stay on board to monitor the search of the ship. No matter what they chose, it felt like precious opportunities were slipping away. The idea that Amy could have been taken off the ship, willingly or by force, began to dominate the investigation. Royal Caribbean maintained that there was no evidence she had disembarked without being noticed, yet the lack of early lockdown procedures meant there was no definitive answer. And then came the first in a series of disturbing tips that would keep the case alive for years. Multiple people in different locations would later claim to have seen Amy alive, in places far from where she vanished. But if those accounts were real, where had she gone? In the years following Amy Lynn Bradley's disappearance, the family received dozens of tips, but a handful stood out as eerily credible. The first major sighting came in 1999, when a U.S. Navy officer claimed he saw Amy in a brothel in Curaçao. He said she looked directly at him and pleaded for help before being led away by two men. The officer didn't report the encounter immediately, fearing repercussions for being in such a place, but eventually came forward, too late for authorities to act. In 2005, a Canadian tourist visiting Barbados claimed she met a woman named Amy who closely matched Bradley's description. The woman allegedly confided that she was being held against her will and couldn't escape. Perhaps the most chilling piece of potential evidence came in the form of photographs sent anonymously to the Bradleys. The images appeared to show a woman in lingerie, sitting on a bed, looking distressed. Forensic analysis suggested the woman could indeed be Amy, though the origin of the images was never determined. Each sighting reignited hope and fear in equal measure. If Amy was still alive, she was likely trapped in a nightmare of human trafficking, a world designed to erase identities and silence voices. For the Bradleys, the pain was not only in losing their daughter, but in believing she might still be out there, waiting to be found. More than 2 decades have passed since Amy Lynn Bradley vanished from the rhapsody of the seas. In that time, no body has been found, no arrests have been made, and no definitive answers have surfaced. To some, the most likely explanation is that Amy fell victim to human trafficking, taken from the ship and forced into a life she could never escape. To others, the sightings over the years are nothing more than coincidences, each one raising false hope in a family desperate for answers. The truth may lie somewhere in between, or in a place we can't yet imagine. What we do know is that Amy's story is not unique. Cruise ships, despite their image of luxury and safety, operate under complex legal jurisdictions, making investigations difficult and in some cases dangerously ineffective. Ron and Iva Bradley have spent decades searching for their daughter, refusing to give up. Every tip, every rumor, every possible lead, they have chased them all, driven by the belief that Amy might still be alive. If Amy Lynn Bradley is out there, her story is one of survival in the face of unimaginable circumstances. If not, her disappearance remains a reminder of how quickly a paradise can turn into a nightmare. If you believe more people should know Amy's story, share this video. And if you want to hear more about cases like this, the mysteries that slip through the cracks, subscribe to Vanishing Echoes. We bring you the untold, the forgotten, and the cases still waiting for justice. Hit the bell icon so you never miss the next mystery.